Yo, what's good? It's your boy Niger, aka King's Caliber, the comeback king. 77 on Instagram, baby. Follow your boy. Hey, follow the YouTube channel here at God's Fault Podcast. Like, subscribe, share, put the noties on so you can get the latest episodes as we dig into all kind of topics. We here for it, you know? Hang with your boy. It's God's fault that I'm here. Don't be mad at me. Blame God. Yeah, we out.
Biggest enemy I got is myself, you know what I mean? New levels, man, everybody ain't got the same devils. My vision perspectives reach the collectives. My ops smelling like breakfast, eating like I'm cannibal, like I'm sick with perfection. I hear you.
Yeah, man, we back. Short little break. But I do want to get into to pick up where we left off at when you have finally moved here back in 2006, right? Permanent? Right, 2006. Now, being that you went, because now I'm assuming now you all in, you committed. This is what I'm gonna do right now. At this time, you have the barbershop. That's where you at with it.
Actually, I knew how to cut hair at the time. I just wasn't officially licensed.
Right.
It was just something I was playing around with. Again, like everything I do, bro, like I'm self-taught, and it was a side hustle.
Right.
Literally, I made a business out of. You know what I mean? I was adamant about working for myself. I was not trying to punch a clock for somebody. You know?
Right.
So again, I came out here. I had a small business. Again, it was lucrative for roughly about the first 3.5 years. I was venturing into other things, but you know, as you know, Northeast Pennsylvania is super easy to get caught up and start hustling and making money.
Right.
So many doors started opening up for me. Bumped my head a little bit, lost a little focus.
Yeah.
So, that was the earlier years out here.
Yeah. No, I understand. Trust me, I understand. So, but once you decided to like get serious about what you was doing, right? Just like this is it. Did you have your first child then, or how did that transpire? As far as in,
yeah, well, actually, my 15-year-old, she was just born when I caught my case.
Okay.
So that was the wake up call. When I caught my case, they basically like revoked my bail for a while. It wasn't really because of something I did. It was a lot of stuff that was going on with the court system at the time. So I didn't make it to court right away. Through the paperwork, and something was going on with the court dates. I went to court twice. It got pushed back, so I didn't even get a bail hearing. It was like some crazy. I really just think it was just like some BS corruption type
right.
stuff. But long story short, I was just locked up waiting for bail. You talking about, I want to say like 27 days or something like that. In that little bit of time, it was like reprogramming my daughter all over again to know who I was. That was reality, being away from her and having to just go through that small period of time that she got kind of offish with me. So, again, I end up, getting a good deal out of the case or whatever. End up, doing what I had to do. And yeah, I was just like, I didn't really want to put myself in that situation again to be away from my kids.
Right.
And I knew I had enough skill, enough talent to do other things,
Right.
So I started applying my hustle to other things.
Right. I had Deuce on here from the Young Kings Council, and we was discussing, fatherhood and everything. And one of the things that came up that I've always seen around like the people I knew, and I might have just been fortunate to know, brothers that even though they might have been in tough situations, or doing things that might have not been favorable they still had some kind of honor and integrity to themselves. And I've watched them, and even myself, have a child, and like reality like really hit. Like the child became more valuable than ourselves. And it made us, rethink how we was moving, because we wanted to be a part of the child's life and lead them someplace that we wasn't. So that's basically what you just said. You know what I mean? Just it's like, whoa, my daughter has to relearn me a little. Like, she don't know me just because I was only gone less than a month, almost a month. You know
Right.
what I mean? So,
I think the reality for me was like I have two older daughters, and my other kids, their mother moved away.
mm,
So it went from me seeing them on a consistent basis to holidays, summertime, that type of situation.
mm-hmm,
They was living in North Carolina at the time. So when I had my 15-year-old, she was the first child that it was like I'm not really letting go again, you know.
right,
And she was with me every day, so
right,
that's why it hit me a lot harder. Because I went from having to cope with having a long distance relationship with my kids to now I actually got my baby with me, and to
mm-hmm,
for me to be the reason to almost let that slip away, I couldn't really stomach that. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get it together.
right. No, that's real. That's real. I know. One of the biggest things, like, that I've faced as a father was the excuse of, because with the issues I had with my pops and things that he was dealing with and struggling with. I think I allowed myself for a period of time to just use that as my own excuse. You know what I'm saying? Until my lifestyle and my choices put me in a situation where I was almost taken out of here.
Right,
So to have my kids come up, see me into the hospital every day, every other day. You know what I mean? I'm in there for like 2 months, skeletal traction. Right? You know what I'm saying? Over something I could have avoided, a situation I put myself in, and almost got taken out of here. And them coming up to see me, and I'm just like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, it's funny because it's just like it hit me so hard, like, and that's where the fight. Like, I thought I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was justifiable. I'm here. I'm working. I'm hustling. I'm doing what I'm doing. Matter of fact, the night I got caught up, I was doing some extracurricular. So, and it was like, but that really woke me up. Like, dang, bro. Like, you know what I mean? My daughter, she's coming in, and it could be a whole different situation. She can be going to in front of a casket right now,
right.
on a freaking cold, rainy Wednesday. You're saying goodbye. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of got me like, you know what? Regardless of whatever I have to face, I gotta face it, and I gotta just do for these kids, man.
Right.
And I think fatherhood, especially when you're have the drive to do for yourself and not to work for other people, when you're an entrepreneur, it takes so much time. I found that you have to learn, like you're self-taught on a lot of things, so, and that takes time, and then to implement them, that takes time. So it's always like it's like you work more for yourself than you do for anybody else.
1,000%. 1,000.
How,
That's
what's the
one thing
balance you found for that? How do you manage that? Or
I haven't figured it out yet. Like
okay.
there's no perfect blueprint, and the way everything keeps evolving, there's never gonna be no exact way to balance it all. Um, what I would say is going back to my earlier years. It starts with your perception of what you should be doing, the timeline of where you should be in your life at a certain point in time. And I think that we have this unrealistic expectation of the timeline of
Mm,
growth that we supposed to have as males. Um,
Mm.
A lot of the pressures of, peers, girls, women, it kind of clouds that for us, right? At the end,
Mm-hmm.
everything that we do, I would say, is arguably for the female, right?
Right.
Regardless if you're a thirsty dude, regardless if you get chicks and you don't really trip on females, you still looking to get the best woman possible, right?
Right.
Or even bag as many females as you can possibly, right? Still at the
Mm-hmm.
day, whether you're looking for that one perfect female or multiple females, whatever, like everything males do is for that end result, right? For the female and for our legacy to be able to have our kids and push
Mm-hmm.
like, forward. What we need to realize is the realistic timeline for all of that is we not going to be millionaires in our 20s. It could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probability is not very high.
Right.
Like, we idolize a lot of people that have the money, but we don't hear about how hard it was. You know what I'm saying? And I just think
Mm-hmm.
the timeline is, realistically, you should be finding success around your 40s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now because the technology is getting a little bit earlier, but you're talking about just hard work, discipline, doing it the right way, not trying to cut no corners.
Mm-hmm.
You get in the game in your 20s and take your 20s serious, which we don't take serious. We think that
Mm-hmm.
our fuck around time. You know what I'm saying? YOLO for a long
Right.
time. Who was running around talking. You take your 20s very serious, bro. You could retire by the time you're 40, and you could
Yeah.
just live what you want to do. You know what I'm
That makes a
saying?
lot of sense. I kind of I'm always in my nephew's ears, and and the young nephews who are maybe cousins and stuff like that. And I can kind of remember I didn't really have any older guys speaking into my life like that coming
Hmm.
up. You know what I mean? So I do kind of tell them like, yo, if you focus and grind now, I told them don't ever chase a female. I said don't do that. I
Right,
said just grind, do what you're gonna do. They're gonna come to you. Say you ain't gotta you focus. They're gonna come to you, and if you really focus, you're gonna recognize the right one when she do come. You know what I
right,
mean? So like you ain't gotta like you don't have to when you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're on top of your game. You discipline that you're gonna find success. It's impossible not to. It's a universal law. You reap what you sow. You know what I'm saying? So and it's funny too because I put up a post today about the culture. Like a lot of us we're so in tune with the culture that we don't have our own self identity. Um, because we're trying to emulate everything else that the culture's doing.
right.
You
And it's
know,
dictated to us. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Is a playbook, like is dictated to us. At this point, we don't know what's for us, right?
Mm,
Everything is being spoon fed to us. Like, we don't really have a culture at this point.
right, yo, you're right about that because
It dictated is not really from the culture,
yeah,
man. Like,
yeah.
you get the Drake and Kendrick beef. Drake is one of the biggest people that dictate culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sides of the fence, like for females and for males. And then you have this beef basically exposing that, yo, let's be honest, this dude is really not a part of the culture. Like,
Right.
he don't have he's a chameleon. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, he don't have no identity. And this is the person that we let dictate our culture. That's
Right.
the problem I have with Drake. I like Drake as an artist. But when you peel back those layers, I ask myself, why is he the guy that
Right.
dictates the culture? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Because we don't have a culture.
Yeah. No, that's right. Matter of fact, the culture that we was building was frowned upon when we was building our culture, and it was kind of hijacked. It was
Hmm.
hijacked and it was repackaged and it was remarketed as this other version of mainstream hip
Hmm.
hop. That's why I was doing a series is hip hop a deadbeat dad because so many kids don't come up with their fathers in their homes, and the first thing you do is look up to celebrity, to rappers, to sports figures. people that you deem successful and influential. And when these people have a voice that's coming through your speaker, through your headset, feeding you, they're telling you everything about who you are, who you should be, or something that you can
Following.
right. I call it on both sides. I say this it came from, hip hop music, it came from our pulpits, it came from a lot of places, and I coined a new phrase for it. I call it trauma trapping. These are trauma trappers. You know what I'm saying? They getting paid off of people's trauma, and that's a dangerous thing. Like, matter of fact, a lot of people's friendships and bonds, relationships, they bond off of trauma.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And then they can't figure out why things go left. So, cause two broken folks.
I learned that the hard way, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you trauma bond with people, and you be like, damn, they get it, right?
Yeah.
You be like, get it. But what I learned was moving out here, right? Like, I'll take like most of my life experiences with like, let's take the Caucasian woman out here, right?
Okay.
People have an issue with, biracial relationships, this, that, and the third. One thing that I found that was very, very life changing for me, dating white females, they didn't know how to trauma bond.
Because they didn't have
They didn't have
the same kind of trauma.
Right?
Right.
And I learned that it will be frustrating sometimes, right? The white girl that you get challenged, not even necessarily racist. It could be some prejudice, right? And I had to learn between racist and prejudice.
Yo, can you break that down for us, please, sir?
All right, well, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I won't even give the technical, right?
Okay.
Example of prejudice. When I first moved out here from New York City, you move into a neighborhood. Most of the people own their house, right? You move back, you rent the house, right? We not understanding nothing about home ownership. We're not learning nothing about equity. We don't know nothing, right?
Right.
We know that the landlord that just rented the house on the block, that directly affects the homeowners on the block, right? What your neighbor do to his property and how much the surrounding people sell their properties for pretty much dictate the value of your home, right?
Correct.
So New York City dude move in, they look at the culture, right? That they don't understand. They only see black, right? They don't we don't see that, we come with a certain type of BS, right? Like, we living out here now. We got the fam coming over for the weekends, loud music, this, loud that, right? There's a certain type of lifestyle that they just not familiar with.
Right.
So we view it as like, oh, they got a problem with us. They racist. You know what? It's quiet on my street, bro. If shit get turned up on my block, I'm turning it up. You feel me?
Right.
I don't have to worry about none of that. Like, I can let my dog in the yard, my dog chill, nobody bother.
Right.
My kids could play in the yard, no problem. Now, if a New York person move next door and they want to have their family coming up on the weekends and all of that, I'm that neighbor now. Like,
right.
I'm annoyed by that.
Yeah.
I come home, I don't have my parking spot. Like, right? But if I was a white person, I would be being called racist. Nah, it's just a certain type of lifestyle and a certain type of temperament that we bring that they're unfamiliar with. And that's all it be a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? They just don't want the rah-rah, and they're just not in tune with that. So with dating white girls out here, you just find out that sometimes they might not get mad enough for you, right? Because they can't stay, right? Like, yo, you, like, I want you to be just as mad as me. She can't. Like, she don't really get it. You feel me?
Yeah.
had to learn was that's not necessarily a bad thing. What happened when we both in the dark spot and we both trauma bonding over the same thing, and now we triggering each other, right?
Right. Oh
We got,
yeah.
we got triggers. So now
Mm-hmm.
we start triggering each other because we bonded off of all this negative bullshit.
Right.
Who gonna pull who out the hole now?
This is facts.
You might need that person that can't relate to none of that dark shit and be like, yo, listen, babe, like, I love you, but like that's not what it is. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
time you just need a different perspective, bro.
Yeah.
You know how I am on perspective.
Right.
So I learned to see it from the other side of the fence and try and find balance in everything that I do. And I learned that it's not always what it seems. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not always what it seems.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is, but it's not always that.
I think I think that's very powerful. Um I've been fortunate. I didn't at the time, like when I was going through my journeys, I didn't think it was fortunate at the time, but I've been fortunate that I've lived in several different places amongst different people. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and because of that, I've integrated with different cultures. And you know, one of my very first friends, my mother worked for a company in Jersey called Launch Electronics, and a lot of the workers came from the city, you know, over to Jersey. Like I think it was maybe like Jersey City or whatever, close or whatever it was in Newark, right outside. I was very young at the time, but she had Puerto Rican friends, she had Indian friends, she had, you know, Haitian, like Jamaican friend, like everything, right? So we used to go to their houses and they used to come to parties and gatherings and stuff. One of my very best friends, her name was like it might have been like Tesla or something like that, way back in the 80s. And they used to bring
That's
these little I forget what they like wrapped food things that they used to boil in water, and some Indian food that they had. We used to eat it. Like I was exposed to all this very young. So
mm-hmm.
not until I got older, like school, like really like in middle school age, almost like late elementary, early middle school ages, where the separation became more like, you know, I was more like in my hood. So all of
Okay.
that stuff, but I was already exposed to other cultures already. But then your friends there, you all kind of had the same situation. You know what I mean? Pops in the home, but might not be there all the way. This and that. You know, mom struggling, working this and that, and the third. But then I started moving. I moved to North Carolina, and once I moved to North Carolina, I seen what was going on down there. Even though it was more black folk than anything. But then once I got out on my own and being in PA, being here, like I started being around a lot more Caucasians and all this stuff. And I was meeting genuine people, and they didn't have a concept of what I had going on in my head. You know what I mean? And they might have not even been in the best situations themselves, but their pain wasn't my pain. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't disregard what I was going through. But at the same time, they wasn't like accepting all the BS that might have came with it, like you
Right.
said. So it was kind of weird. So just being around it and kind of understanding that, and being able to make friends with like a lot of different people, I started realizing that my trauma wasn't my identity. You know what I'm saying? That didn't have to make me. You know, so it's kind of, so it's wild that you had that same kind of experience, you know, where somebody else is kind of leveling you out. Like, yeah, I hear you, but
Yeah.
it's not quite.
I feel like, you know, people wearing trauma as like a religion or like a badge of honor now.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool. We get it. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Like
Not
they even
really.
try to outdo you. You know what I
It,
mean? Yeah. When I
it's
grew up, I listen, man. We had no frill cereal. Oh,
yeah.
well, I ain't had no cereal at all, and we was just eating rice. You know what I mean? Like it's always trying to one up.
Really so past that, bro. Like I'm not ranking in the dough. I'm not rolling in dough or any of that. But you know, for the most part, like I'm at peace. And yeah, we grew up in the mud, as
Right,
they say. But
right,
it's like I look at it and I know it was still people that had it worse than me in the hood. Like I had my
mm,
mom, I had my pops,
right,
I had some type of structure, I had some type of guidance. Like me bumping my head was 1000%. me venturing out and trying things that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily it wasn't too bad. Like I didn't fall off too much where I couldn't bounce back, but I think we wear that as a badge of honor, and I'm just not with it. Like I got my own
Mm.
traumas, I got my own family issues, even with relationships. Like I grew up in a misandrous fucking family, bro. Like
Right.
a bunch of woman eating females, like man eating females, so to speak. Like
Right.
I got my own traumas that I
Right.
deal with, that I'm figuring me out.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't want to make those excuses. I don't want that to be an excuse.
Well, you said something that was very interesting because it's definitely something that I value more now than ever. And I used to go about trying to obtain it in the wrong way, but my peace, bro. Like you said, like just as long as if I have peace, I'm good. And
Yeah.
I think that's so underrated. Even in this entrepreneur journey and everything, I get tired. You get tired. A lot of time you have vision that nobody else see. And you can't even really communicate it. The way you need to, or you have to make certain decisions. And it's like, well, why are you doing that? And it's like I don't really have time to explain to you. I got to
Yeah.
move like this right now. It's something I'm getting at or whatever. So, but one thing I learned is that in everything that I do, I need peace about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's robbing me of my peace, not my comfort, not
Right.
comfort zone, not just laying around. I'm just if it's just robbing me of my peace, like it's disturbing me, it's irritating me, it's causing me to be aggravated and I'm snapping at the kids or you know what I'm saying, that type of thing. I know I'm off course, and I think
Right.
that's one of the things. Like, and I try to teach this to my grandchildren, and I constantly trying to be an example, not even trying, I'm constantly am an example to my children, is I've learned to use my emotions as a meter to where my peace is at, instead of putting my emotions on others. You know what I mean? Like, so if my emotions is kind of stirring up, it's not wrong. It's like, oh wait, what's taking my peace away? My peace is disturbed. What is it? You know
Right.
what I mean? Because the one thing I learned, I can't change anybody. You know what I mean? I have a hard enough time um evolving myself, because I'm not even going to say change, because I'm always going to be who I am. But priorities for me dictate behavior. So once my priority for something changes, my behavior changed. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I sat and watched a TV episode of anything, like a TV show. People come in at work, hey, did you see so and so? Oh, you gotta watch this and this. I'll be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like I can't do nothing about, I don't have time to watch TV. That's not when I have downtime, I have certain things that I like to do for my downtime, and it's definitely not getting programmed by whatever they got going on over there. You know what I'm saying? So I have other stuff. I'm either feeding myself with something, I'm digesting some type of training, you know what I mean? Or I'm watching other podcasts or something that I'm liking. I'm like, okay, I like how they doing that. I like, oh, okay, that's dope. I'm always feeding myself with something that's gonna improve the vision that I have.
Yeah, you have to, man. Like that's something that I do as a ritual, and I that's probably why I have so many different things that I have my hand in. Every year I make a vow to myself. That's pretty much like my New Year's resolution unofficially. I find something that's going to be valuable to me, and I pour into myself, and I teach myself something, regardless if it's how to implement something new, AI to the business or something. Like I go into the top of the year saying, all right, what am I going to implement into me? Because I view myself as the product, right? Like
Mm,
it's a good and a bad thing. I got to
okay.
get to the point to be able to make money without me physically doing it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Start making money when you sleep.
Right. That's the goal. Yes, sir.
Like even with this, right? The YouTube thing, everything you got to edit. You
Yeah.
got time to with your you got screen time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to find a business where you're not the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the realm that I keep getting caught up in. But I feel positive about it as well because I'm pouring into myself. You know, I
Right.
know I know my value. I know what I could do. Um, when I network and I meet people, like I undersell myself because a lot of the stuff that I know that I'm really into,
Right.
it sounds like that dude that always trying to one up you, right?
Mm.
Yo,
Mm-hmm.
I got one of those too. I could do that too, right?
Right. Right.
So I undersell myself because I don't want to be that guy and sound like, yeah, that nigga, there's no way he could do all of that.
Right.
But
Right.
I would really be like that though. Like,
They do. It do. It's something you said though, and it's something that I'm learning. I don't know if you know who Myron Golden is, but if you get a chance, look him up on YouTube. He's like, this dude is a he's an amazing teacher when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. Okay, and
mm,
he does it from a biblical perspective, and
okay,
he's not apologetic from it, and he's really like, his teachings is crazy, bro. Like his teaching and his the things that he have, but it's something you said that he says when you was talking about before about systems, right?
mm,
And he said what you have to learn is how to create a system to make the money in your
100%,
own business.
100%.
And he was like, so he was like, so, and then you take that system to its capacity, and then you break it,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you break it, now you put a set of goal that'll break the system to see where the flaws at in the system, and then you restructure the system to make it run smooth for that new goal, and then you break it again.
100%.
And I was like, yo, this dude is a genius. So even like with all the stuff, because I feel like kind of the same too. Like I was asked recently to take a look at a website to
Mm-hmm.
see like, the aesthetics of the website, like how it flow, what it feels like or whatever, right? And I literally looked at this website for 3 minutes, and I had a whole layout. And I had to hold back on it because I didn't want to offend the person asking. Because even
Right,
though I know they wanted me to critique them, all the stuff was coming too fast, and they had no idea that it was that many flaws in the system.
right,
But they don't know that I spent the last 3 years, in the back, in the back systems of websites, building them,
right.
structuring them. You know what I mean? Bumping my head, doing that. Seeing how what worked was dynamic, was not, like all these different things.
Mm,
The last time I think I created a website for a charity,
okay.
maybe about 6 months ago, uh, which would have cost, I don't know, 4,500, right? If they would have got a certified person to do it, like
Mm,
4,500 or something like that, and I did it in I would say less than 48 complete, less
mm,
than 48. Fully functioning, ready to go, aesthetically pleasing, everything moving, back channels, links, connections, everything needed for donate, like the whole shebang. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, and it took me away because I was just like, oh, dang. It took me like, I forget, for my own site like when I was first learning it it took me forever to get a site up.
right.
And that took me less than 48 hours. And I'm like, why am I charging people for this? And I did that on the love for somebody that I love very dearly. You know what I mean? They're doing a great thing. So it wasn't about paper. But I was
Right.
just thinking to myself at the time, and I wasn't in the healthiest mind state when I did it either. I wasn't even running at 100%.
Mm,
And I was like, you know what I'm saying? So it just, so when you was talking about like every year you choose a goal to work on, to improve upon yourself and stuff like that. I think that's something that entrepreneurs, when you're really serious about what you're doing, that you just have to do. Like, let me ask you this: have you spent money on any courses yet, as far as in training and stuff of that nature?
Hmm. Yeah, I did invest into a course that taught me how to repair my credit.
Okay.
Um, so I've repaired a couple of people credit. Again, that was something that I felt like was valuable initially because I had a plan. It was a 4-man plan to basically get into real estate.
Okay.
So basically, I wanted to be able to teach my team how to build their credit, how to build
Mm-hmm.
credit, and all of that. So I just basically took the hit and paid for it, taught myself it in and out, like impeccable with it now. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So that was pretty much the only course that I would say that I physically paid for.
Okay.
Everything else was it was so much information out there, YouTube, everything
You
else.
just naturally just consumed it.
Cool.
Right.
And dedicate a certain amount of time. I'm a night owl for the most part, so typically it'd be like on a late night. I spend like 3, 4 hours just doing my homework. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
I was in school. You feel
Yeah.
me? So that's what I did. And
Yeah.
I've been at this point. I've had side jobs here and there, and again, the side jobs that I've worked, I just look at them as they're my investors.
Right.
I
That's a
need
fact.
capital for another move that I'm looking to make or whatever. If I got to turn it up a little bit, I'll go get a side hustle, got a side job or something like that. But as far as this entrepreneur space, bro, like I've been doing it for so long, like, talking about like 16 years at this point.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
I, I take it serious. You feel me? Like a lot of people say they're an entrepreneur, but they couldn't even do 50 hours on a real job. So imagine doing
fact.
50, get a paycheck after it. You
Right.
feel me?
Right.
So most people don't really understand it. And entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
they want it. They want it for the glorification, right? They want it after you done had a successful business for 20, 30 years. That's who they want to be, like the
Mm-hmm.
first years, right?
Right.
What happened? Like they want the facade of being a boss. Most entrepreneurs are broke, bro.
Yes.
They're broke.
Yeah.
They're broke. You feel me?
Talk about it.
All ones know, like the first couple of years, once you punch that clock, like you got to scale your business.
Yeah.
Even when your business is doing well, like
Mm-hmm.
March, you're dumping that money back into your
Yeah.
business.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. You know what?
Most,
Hold right there. We're gonna take one more break because I
oh,
just noticed, and we're gonna pick it up from right there. Definitely.